In the last video, you saw me take one of the biggest hits I've ever taken on the channel. No! In my quest to make $100 an hour playing low-stakes poker, I was on a roll. Through the first 4 episodes, I was making $131 an hour, but it didn't last. We lost over $1,000 in a grueling 10-hour battle in episode 5, bringing our hourly down to a disappointing $64 an hour. We're at the halfway point now in the series, and we need to play a lot more poker to reach our goal, so we have 3 crazy sessions to go over today. I buy in for $1,000 at the 1-3 table, so let's jump right into the hands. Today's session starts with a blackout at the fort. For some reason, the power is down, but that's not going to stop the locals here in West Texas from playing some poker. And I'm in the big blind with 8-7 of hearts, and I call a $15 raise and a call. The flop comes 8-6-5, giving me top pair, and the action checks through, bringing in the 6 of spades on the turn. People's flashlights are out. We're doing everything we can to keep the table fully lit. One of my opponents bets out for $25, and the other opponent calls. Of course, with top pair and an open-ended straight draw, I put in the call as well.
Oh yeah, I love this turn check. As the out-of-position player, we should be checking our entire range on the turn. And facing a bet and a call, this hand is a very, very easy call down. Well played.
And now the river fills me up when it comes to 6 of clubs, giving me a full house. The opponent across the table fires out for $65, and I have top full house. I could debate going for a raise, but in case he has a 6, I don't want to punt off too much money here. I just put in the call, thinking he can't call me with too much worse. We lose our 3-way, he says we're good, and we are gonna scoop the first hand of the night down, $251. And lucky enough for us, the power comes back on, so this next hand is just as usual. Perfect lighting here at the Fort Card Room in Aledo, Texas.
Then who was flickering the lights? Nosferatu!
I find myself in the $6 straddle. There's an open to 25 and a call, and I defend my $6 straddle with 10-9 of diamonds, and we see a flop which comes ace-10-7 with 2 clubs. The original raiser fires out for $40. The other player folds, and I call, of course. Seems pretty standard, and the turn comes a brick. It's the 3 of diamonds. Will my opponent continue to bet, or will he slow down and check? That's exactly what he does. He checks it over to me. I check behind, and we river 3 of a kind on the 10 of clubs, and now the opponent goes for the old stop and go up to $50. I can't just call here, right? I know the flush is there, but I have 3 of a kind. That's a pretty strong hand, and I'm targeting a hand like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. I can beat all of those hands, and I don't think he's gonna fold, so I raise him up to $150, and after a little bit of hemming, a little bit of hawing, and a smile, he puts in the call. I turn over to 3 of a kind, going for value there, and he folds, and we're taking down the second hand of the night. $459 is our reward. Next hand, we look down at ace king of diamonds from under the gun and open it up to $20 over a $6 button straddle. My opponent to the left puts in the call, and Ethan across the table now 3-bets me to $80. He's got the backwards hat on, he's got the glasses, and he's filming some shorts for his popular YouTube and Instagram channel. Action's back over to me. I want to give him some good action here. He only has around $550 in his stack, which is pretty short stacked here at this 1-3 game, so I decide to put all the chips in the middle. I jam for $550.
With so much dead money behind and a very capped player to your left, jamming here is absolutely the best sizing with all your hands, except for exactly pocket aces, which should probably min raise to $160.
And Ethan snaps me off. I like my jam here though, even though he snaps me off, because I think he could fold a hand like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, maybe even start to consider folding pocket 10s, which would be a massive win. But when he snaps me off and turns over the ladies, we are in a classic flip situation. The flop is no good, 8-7-3, but the turn gives me top pair on the king of clubs, followed by the jack of diamonds on the river. And we only had 45% chance to win this. He was in the lead until that beautiful, beautiful king came on the turn. And just like that, the poker gods are rewarding us with an $1,100 pot, which is exactly what we needed to do if we have any hopes of making $100 an hour in this challenge. You gotta win your flips, you guys. That is tip number 1 if you wanna be a profitable poker player. We now have $1,600 in our stack, sitting at a nice $600 profit. It's approaching 5 p.m. and I open up pocket tens under the gun and get 2 callers, but the flop is no bueno. King Jack 4 with 2 diamonds, and the action checks around. The dealer puts out the turn card. It's the 8 of hearts, and I decide to check once again. I think I'm either way ahead here or probably way behind a king or a jack, and the turn checks through. The river now comes the 8 of spades, and my buddy Drew Baker over there across the table fires out for 45 bucks. Mr. Baker is very capable of bluffing. You guys might think this is a punt by putting in 45 bucks in the middle, but it's not.
If you're gonna hero call here, you want to block the big draws to make it more likely your opponent has a complete airball. So you want to bluff catch a lot when you have the 10 of diamonds and the 10 of hearts here. I think that this is a really well played hand.
I put in the call, the other opponent folds, and we are gonna beat 4-3 of clubs. He thought he could get me to fold, but it's not gonna work.
Hey, welcome to the table, Drew. Welcome to the trail.
My buddy Patrick to my left is laughing, and we are too, straight to the bank, taking down a nice pot against our buddy. You know what they say, your friend's money spends better. It appears we didn't give our cards back because we have pocket tens once again. There's an open to 10 bucks. I 3-bet him to 30.
How you doing?
You gotta say choo choo.
And he 4-bet rips it for $150. Pocket tens kind of on that cusp, but we're up some money on the session, and I have a feeling my opponent is probably flipping with me here, so I put in the call. Flop comes king 9-7. Let's hold. Come on, dealer. The turn comes the king of clubs, and the river seals his fate on the 4 of spades.
Anything to say to your friends?
Don't ship it with ace queen.
We're winning our flips tonight. It's not the biggest pot in the world, but we'll take every $304 pot we can get, and this is a great one to add into our stack. This next hand gets a little bit out of control. Nate opens it up, and I decide to defend from the big blind. We're going heads up to an ace-ace 3 flop, and I check it over to him. He goes for a pretty standard c-bet of 25 bucks. You might be thinking here, Wolfgang, what are you going to do? Are you just going to call here with your double backdoors, being the flush and the straight, or are you going to fold? Well, the answer is none of them. I'm actually going to check raise here to the tune of $65. Doesn't need to be super large if I'm trying to get him to fold a hand like king high, queen high, something that has me beat. Maybe even pocket 4s and pocket 5s could start to fold here, and that's kind of my logic. I make it $65. Does Nate fold? Absolutely not. He puts in the call, and the turn now comes the deuce of hearts. Well, we got to keep betting here if that was the plan, and I fire out for $95.
The turn 2 is one of the worst cards in the deck to continue bluffing. Not only did we miss all of our backdoors from the flop, but we don't check raise the flop with pocket 2s or ace 2 suited, so our opponent can have turned all of the full houses, and we cannot. This should simply be a check fold, but I think you knew that.
And Nate calls one more time. So when the river comes a queen of spades, you might be thinking, Wolfgang, you should probably slow down here and give up. Absolutely not. I go for another bet here. It's pretty large, $225. I don't really know why I did this. I definitely should be checking after he calls me on the flop, check raise, and the turn bet. But that's kind of dumb just to be putting on 1 or 2 hands and hoping he's going to fold that exact hand. So I definitely just need to be check folding and giving up. But instead, when I bet $225, he rips it on me for $1,500. And of course, I have to fold. What does he tell us that he has? Ace deuce of spades. So yeah, he had 3 of a kind on the flop, makes sense, and just gets the maximum here versus me. I don't know why I was punting with jack high. This is a disaster and something that I can't be doing the rest of this challenge.
All right, I'm here with the homie Ben. Came all the way from like what? Virginia. For one reason. One purpose. He wants Mudkip. I have never offered Mudkip up for sale or anything like that. We got a bounty on Mudkip. If he stacks me with 7 deuce, and Mudkip is his. And I gotta put him in a short.
It's gonna happen.
Now we're only up $200, and I'm in the cutoff with ace king offsuit. Let's see if I can play this hand a little bit better. I raise it up to $20, and I get 2 callers. The button, who put $6 out there, well, he has ultimate last action, which means he now gets to see his cards and see what he wants to do, and he makes it $75. We lose a small blind, but pick up Drew in the big blind. I should be 4-betting here, trying to pick off this 3-bet squeeze from the button.
With $170 in the middle and $1,000 in our stack, Ace King still fits into our pre-flop jamming range, so I really don't like flatting pre-flop with so much dead money.
But instead I just call. I really don't like this play. I gotta be 4-betting. Ace-king offsuit is vulnerable, but it's still a very good hand. I gotta put more money in the middle. But when we call here and we see a pretty good flop, which comes king, jack, 3, rainbow, the action checks over to the button, who checks behind. The turn now gives me 3 of a kind on the king of hearts, and Drew checks it over to me. I think the button could be checking behind on the flop with some strong hands, so checking it over to him here on the turn makes some sense. That's what I do, and he fires out for $75 once again. Drew puts in the call, and now I think the best play is to raise. I raise it up to $300. We lose the button, actions back over to Drew, who puts in the call. So kind of a strange line from Drew, playing it super passively, just calling raises here. The river card is not great in case he had that heart draw. Now completes on the 7 of hearts. So with $920 in the middle, does he check it over to me? Absolutely not. He bets out for $450, putting me in a really gross spot here. I have the ace of hearts blocking the nut flush.
I really like how you checked twice to check raise the field on the turn, but on the river we absolutely have to keep betting, especially when we have the ace of hearts in our hand. I would much rather bet $500 and fold to a raise than check call $500 myself.
He's very capable of bluffing, but not this time. I put in the call and he turns over 10-9 of hearts for the rivered flush. Bummer there, we're losing an $1,800 pot and our chip stack is going in the wrong direction. After losing that pot versus Drew, I add on for $1,400 more dollars, so I'm in for $2,400 at the moment and stuck $500 on the session. Next hand, I'm in the +2 and raise it up to $20 over a button straddle. The player to my left calls and the straddler calls, and we flop ourselves top 2 on an ace queen 6 board. Bang, we have 2 pair. I fire out for $30 and both players put in the call, so the pot is now bloated up to $154, and the turn comes the king of clubs. Gotta keep betting here. I fire out for $110, and only Sergey puts in the call to my left. He's an Ukrainian pro here that somehow found his way over to the fort. It's kind of a long way from home, but the games are really good. He's probably making a ton of money, and I gotta be cautious here, out of position against a capable player. When the river comes the 9 of spades, I like going for another value bet here, and I go $390. Sure, we're losing to Jack 10, we're losing to some sets, or maybe even Ace King, but other than that, I think he's just gonna call me here with a lot of worse hands. Does he do that? No, he jams for $1,400. Well, this is a weird situation. Now I have 2 pair, but my opponent is telling me that he has a better hand. What makes the most amount of sense? I think Jack 10 could make some sense. And other than that, just not too much. Maybe pocket 9s or pocket queens that played weird pre-flop by just calling. That doesn't make much sense, does it?
When you're the pre-flop raiser and your opponent puts it in on an ace, king, queen, they will always show you Jack 10 because they can't really show you the other nutted hands since they can't have sets or 2 pair. I think the river is a snap fold, especially because we pot the river, because we don't beat a single value hand that the villain is representing, and this is going to be a very underbluffed spot.
This is my pot. How is this not my pot? Oh, it's so gross.
I think this is just Jack 10, and I'm probably gonna have to fold. That's what I decide to do. I relinquish my cards, and Sergey tells us he had Jack 10 of diamonds. Yes, what a good fold from me. Folding when he had the nuts on the board. It's always hard to do, but at the end of the day, queens, kings, and aces don't make any sense, so it's pretty much Jack 10 or nothing.
All right, you guys, I'm here with Rania, one of the rising superstars. Just won an award at the GPI Awards. So, Rania, I got a pressing question.
Okay.
It's for a series on YouTube. I'm playing at my card room, the Ford. We're playing 1-3.
You've never invited me.
Well, you're fully invited.
Okay,
and
I'm now invited.
Based on your response to this question, you may be, a VIP member there, but $100 an hour. Do you think it's possible over a sample size of 100 hours at my 1-3 game at the Fort?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
Because you have mad skill and you have mad love for the game. It's always good for poker for you to win. So I think he's going to do it, guys.
We're going to take that.
Good luck.
Thanks, Reddit.
This next hand's a little bit funky, but I promise you it's worth the watch. I have ace-jack offsuit and raise it up to $35 over a $10 button straddle. Drew puts in the flat call, and now Creed in the big blind 3-bets to $115. Ace-jack offsuit, although it looks pretty, isn't the best hand in the world, so I wouldn't blame anyone for folding here, but I just don't think Drew is going to be back 4-betting here, putting us in a gross spot. I think most likely he's either going to call or fold, and then the button straddler, I don't think she's really going to be putting in a 4-bet, so I'm not really too worried about losing my money. Sure enough, Drew puts in the call. We lose the straddler going off to a flop 3 ways, which comes about as good as it can get. King, jack, jack, bang! We flop 3 of a kind on a pretty great board. Creed bets out for $135, and I have the ace of clubs in my hand. I could always back into a straight or a flush, but I'm not too worried about that. I just put in the call, and we lose Drew. What would be the best turn card in the world for us? Well, it's the Jack of Hearts, and it comes, bang, we have quads. What a dream situation here. Creed, continue to bet, please. I need my chip stack to go in the right direction this time, but unfortunately, he checks. So we're gonna have to put money in the middle right now if we wanna build up the pot. Hopefully as a hand like ace, king, king, queen, maybe a flush draw, or maybe a pair like pocket queens or pocket aces would be nasty. So I fire out for $300. I gotta bet my own hand if I need to bloat the size of the pot. Will Creed put in the call? He folds his hand showing ace queen of hearts. Should I have checked behind on the turn and allowed him to catch up and make a pair of aces or queens, or maybe even a straight on the river? Well, let me know down in the comments, but I saw quads, I put money in the middle, and you can't blame me for that. $926, let's go. We open the ducks up to $20 and get one caller from Drew and flop ourselves bottom set on an 8-3 deuce board. He leads out into me and I call. The turn comes the 10 of clubs, and now he checks. Look at that smile on his face. What is he up to by leading out on the flop and checking the turn? Well, we're about to find out. I bet out for $75 and he calls. So the river comes the 3 of spades. Is he gonna check it over to me? No, now he's gonna bet out into me for $100. I definitely need to get extra value here. I can't just be calling. He looks a little bit suspicious. He's trying to table talk me.
Were you looking at GTO charts when you weren't here? Be honest. Okay. Well, then you should know what to do.
He looks at the board, looks at his cards, and then eventually calls. Yes, we needed this one. A nearly $1,000 pot is surely coming my way. And when he mucks his cards, that is the case. The dealer pushes it over my way, and we are winning another nice pot here with bottom set on the flop. But the action there on the flop, turn, and river was definitely something strange.
From what I've seen, this player is pretty honest about their hand strength. So when they bet large into you, I would raise large and blast off on the turn and the river. As played, I'd like to see an even bigger, greedier raise on the river. Remember, the EV from your nutted hands comes from playing as big a pot as possible, not from raising to a milky size.
All right, the $6 straddle is out there. I raise it up to $25 and get 2 callers with queen 9 of clubs and flop myself top pair on a 9-8 deuce with 1 club board. What's with my opponents leading out into me when I am the pre-flop aggressor? Well, the opponent fires out for $25 from the +1 and I put in the call, and I bank 2 pair on the turn with the queen of spades. He continues to bet now. He doesn't go for Drew's line of the bet, check, bet. He fires out for Cinco de Mayo, $55, and I've never seen a Cinco de Mayo that I didn't like. The only question is, do I want to raise here when I have 2 pair? I wouldn't blame any of you guys for doing that. Getting more money in the middle can never be a bad thing, but I decide just to call, and the river comes the 4 of hearts. He now leads out for $100. I could raise here trying to get value versus 8-9, but
Wolfgang, you have to stop letting them off the hook. Sure, Jack 10 got there, but top 2 pair is certainly worth a river raise. Do not let your opponents choose the size of the pot for you. Make them play the pot size that you want to play.
In case he has Jack 10, I decide just to put in the call. That's not what he has. Ace 9 offsuit. Maybe he pays us off for a little bit of thin value, but instead we are winning a $442 pot. After grinding for 10.5 hours, we book a profit of $458.
So in just 10 hands, I count at least $2,000 in mistakes. We definitely have to tighten up and be sure not to press the call button. It's especially on the river.
Which could have been a lot more if we played a few of those hands a little bit differently. But don't worry, we come back for another session. I buy in for a ton of money, but unfortunately become card dead for most of the session, and that's just the reality of poker. You can't force the hands. I played one interesting hand though. I made quads in a bomb pot with pocket eights, but that was it. I played 4 hours and lost $249, but for every bad session, you have a great one too. Session number 3, we're coming back at the fort after a month-long hiatus from the challenge, and there's a lot of exciting hands to come into this one. I buy in for $2,000 and get after it right away with ace-10 of spades. I open it up to $20 over a $6 button straddle, and my opponent across the table just seems done with this session. He wants to get it over with and jams for $189. Ace high might be good here against some hands, or we could be flipping versus some pocket pairs, so I put in the call, and just like that, we're in a situation in a $400 pot right off the bat. We flop top pair, river 2 pair, and he turns over pocket 9. So you gotta win your flips, you guys. I'm winning a $400 pot straight out of the gate, and then I pick up my opponent's hand pocket nueves, and there's an open to $20 and a 3-bet to 90 on my right. Kind of a gross spot here. Everything seems wrong. Folding seems tight, calling seems kind of weird, and 4-betting seems way too aggressive. I decide just to call here, and we're gonna pick up another caller from the initial raiser. 3 ways to a flop in position here with pocket 9s. Can we spike a flop here? Come on, dealer. One time, let's hit a 9. It doesn't come. 10-7-4 rainbow is the board. The action checks to me, and I think my hand could go for a little bit of protection here and get a little bit of value versus some ace-king of diamonds, ace-5 of clubs, something like that. I fire out for 100 bones, and both players fold, so taking down back-to-back pots worth nearly $400. Then this next hand, there's a $6 button straddle and 2 limps over to me. I make it $35 to go with ace-king offsuit, and we pick up a few callers. Action checks to me on a king 5-3 rainbow board. We have top pair, top kicker, a great situation. There's nearly $200 in the middle, and I bet out for Cinco de Mayo. We pick up 1, 2, 3 callers. There's now nearly $400 in the middle, and the turn comes a 4. It's the 4 of clubs. Will anyone lead out into me on this 4 of clubs, or will I have the option of betting or checking behind? No. Freddie over there bets out for 150 bones, and ace-king offsuit here is just way too good to fold. I can't be thinking about that, but what is he leading out into 3 other players with on this turn? Does he have 6-7? I put in the call, expecting to go heads up to the river, but no. Dima has other intentions. He puts in the call, and the river now pairs the board, coming the 5 of hearts. Dima now checks, and Freddie does not slow down. He bets out for $750, and this is a gross spot, but I think it can be a good learning lesson. Freddie has shown aggression on the turn and the river. He's not slowing down. He's putting chips in the middle. I want to call here. I think I beat some hands, but with Dima behind, it puts me in a gross spot, and I just have to fold. Sure enough, Dima calls, and we're gonna see Freddie's cards. Was he bluffing? No, he had 6-7 offsuit. What a great fold from me. He turned the straight and then went for value on the paired board on the river. Not scared about anyone filling up, but I saved 750 bones by folding that river. Let's go.
Yeah, we out here at the fort, finally putting together a good session here. The hardest part of this challenge is not even like the poker aspect of it. It's just like getting myself to come out here and put in like 100 hours. We were kind of having Brad. That guy does like 100 hours in a week. He doesn't have any subs. It's doable to play a bunch of hours and make some money. You just gotta be disciplined, find good spots, and wait for a moment.
Well, the poker gods reward us right away by giving us the best hand in the game, pocket aces. And not only that, we are on the button straddle for $6. There's an open to $30 and a call from Drew. I 3-bet it to 155, and both players call. The action is great here at the fort. Ace, jack, 5, bang, we flop top set. A little bit of overkill here, dealer. Oh wait, that's Ethan. That's my buddy who makes content as well. The action checks over to me, and I fire out for $100. I also have the ace of diamonds, so in case somehow they turn a flush, I can also river them with the better flush on the 4th diamond on the river. But when When I fire up for 100 bucks, both players fold. I thought that was a cheap enough price to keep them on the hook, but apparently not. But still, $569 is definitely appreciated. There's a $10 straddle in this next hand, and I make it $40 to go with the beautiful Ace Queen of Hearts. That is 2/5 of a royal flush. Not every day that you have the opportunity to make a royal flush. And we're gonna go 3 ways to the flop. On an Ace-8 deuce with 2 diamonds board, we have top pair with a queen kicker, $123 in the middle. Do I wanna go for a bet here? Do I want to check? Well, I'm in between 2 opponents, and my coach would say that is monkey in the middle. So I'm gonna listen to him and check it over to Freddie, who checks behind, and the turn's kind of a scary card. It's the 5 of diamonds, bringing in the front door flush. Drew checks over to me, and I go for value now. I fire out for $80 into the middle, and before I even notice, Freddie just mucks his cards. That is the definition of a snap fold. But a snap call coming from Drew. He is known to put chips in the middle. That's why we love him. And the river now comes the 4 of spades. I go super small here for $55, just 15% of the size of the pot. I don't want him to fold. I think I have the best hand here, but I don't think he has very much. And sure enough, he puts in the call. I turn over my top pair, which is good. And $400 is coming my way, courtesy of Colton, the dealer. Okay, $6 button straddle. There's a raise to 30 and a call. Actions on me. Of course, we're going to squeeze here from the big blind with king queen offsuit. I cut out a lot of green chips, shuffle them a few times, and then decide on a sizing. End up using 2 hands here, which is pretty strong, but I ultimately decide on $150. Actions back over to Patrick, who's getting a wonderful massage, and he calls my $150. Maybe it's a massage talking, maybe he actually has a good hand. We are gonna find out. And Freddie is not going anywhere. He puts in the call. Drew folds. I'm just gonna repeat that. Drew folds. It's not every day that he folds his cards, but it's a new day here, and maybe he's tightening up a little bit. And the flop comes ace, ace, queen with 2 clubs. We have 2 pair, backdoor straight draw, backdoor club draw, and the action checks through. The turn comes an absolute brick, to which I fire out for $75. That's 3 green chips, and we're gonna get action from Patrick. The river now gives me a better 2 pair. It's the king of hearts. I think I need to go for value versus a queen, or maybe a hand like pocket 10s, pocket 9s. I don't want to go too large, so I bet out for $100. He thinks about it for a little while, grimaces, and then folds. So we're taking down another nice pot. Chipping up here is always great. Slowly but surely, our stack is going in the right direction.
Okay, what's your first impression of this guy right here? Like,
He's a very friendly guy. I pay him to say that. He actually hates me.
Okay, $10 button straddle again, and we look down at ace king offsuit from the small blind. There's an open to 30, which means we are gonna come in large here. I usually wanna go around 4x, and I decided to go a little bit larger to 5x here to $150. Something strange now happens where the opponent to our left, who goes by Wolfie, it's Wolfie on Wolfie violence here. He puts in the call, and Freddie folds. So I have no idea. He puts in the call, and we're going heads up to a flop, which comes ace 4-3. I wanna see what he does, so I check it over to him, and he checks behind. Interesting. Okay, the turn comes the 6 of hearts, and now I go for value. I fire out for $100, and Wolfie calls. 540 bucks in the middle, and the river comes the jack of hearts. I want to go for some value here, and I fire out for a bunch of green chips. That's $250, and before I can get my chips in the middle, he snap calls me. Are we beat here? Does he have a flush that didn't raise? Does he have a set or 2 pair like ace 4, ace jack? No. When he snap calls me in this $1,000 pot, he turns over pocket queens. The ladies, he got stubborn. I think I won the maximum by not going for a bet on the flop and betting turn and river small. $1,000 is our reward. Poor Wolfie over there to our left is not taking the cheddar back to the bank. And that's going to do it for us here in session number 3. I booked a profit in 7.5 hours for $1,475. What does that put us at through 6 episodes? We passed the 50-hour mark. We now have 56.5 hours logged for a profit of $3,889 or $69 an hour. Nice. Well, we are over the 50-hour mark, but we're not at $100 an hour, which means we're gonna have to make more than $100 an hour over the course of the next 43 and a half hours, but I think it's doable. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button and comment down below. Subscribe if you're new. Reach out to my coach if you guys want some coaching or to get into that next boot camp. And as always, good luck on the felt. There's 2 more videos on your screen. Click one of those right now to keep on watching, and I'll catch you as always in the next video. Peace!